Hey everybody, welcome to the Glasses Push. My name is Chuck. I'm not wearing glasses right now. There are contacts. I'm well aware that it breaks the entire brand of the Glasses Push. Moving on. Today, we're talking about Underground Airlines by Ben H. Winters. Who should read this? Why should you care? Well, a couple years back, Ben H. Winters finalized one of the coolest sci-fi trilogies I have ever seen. It's a soft sci-fi trilogy called The Last Policeman. It's about a detective who cannot stop solving crimes despite the fact that the world is ending. He's so morally righteous. It's an incredible character and a pretty unflinching look as to how society might act in the wake of a very serious, life-threatening situation. Great stuff. So he took the idea of soft sci-fi detective novel and really upped his game. Any fan of the sci-fi genre is really going to love all of the interesting moral questions created from this universe. And additionally, it is a revisionist historical novel in which the South got to keep 4 slave states, and basically any free blacks are at risk of being captured and becoming slaves and have to essentially serve as Uncle Toms to help sell out runaway slaves to not become slaves themselves. That's about as much as I want to say without giving anything away. And so that incredibly divisive premise again is a fantastic hook for people, and so if that seems at all interesting to you, I highly recommend checking this out. So, sci-fi, alt history, mystery, suspense. If you're interested in any of these genres, Ben H. Winters handles them all with aplomb. That's why you should care. That's who should check this out. What did I think? Just right off the bat, let me get this out there. Ben H. Winters is awesome. I absolutely love his writing style throughout the 4 books of his, the Last Policeman trilogy and Underground Airlines. He really has developed quite the voice of the first-person detective. That is the style in which he writes, and he does it exceedingly well. So what does that look like? So first person, you're always in the mind of the protagonist, and being a detective, you are constantly getting these hyper-focused points of detail. So the world is kind of set with a wide swath, so you'll get a basic idea about what the overall tone of the book and its setting is, but these fantastic little glimpses of detail that are handled with scientific precision and just absolute artistic license as well. Very liberal use of metaphor and simile through this. And so that alone just paints the book with, man, such interesting details and nuance. Love it. But being first person, the protagonist of this book, you're not really sure if they're a good person. Even going through the book, you're not really sure if they're a good person. Very dynamic character arcs here, but you're never really sure who's in the right. And this goes for about everybody. There's no real good person in this novel, and that is incredibly uncomfortable, especially when it's a first-person depiction. And of course, when you're handling, the themes of slavery, that's an incredibly touchy and uncomfortable topic. Of course, racism is also heavily addressed, as well as government overreach. There's a lot in this alternate history that rings very true for today, and it's no accident, and in some ways it's almost uncomfortable how similar this world seems to ours, and how just a couple decisions could send us spiraling into that type of world. Which is not meant to be any type of political commentary. This is the political stage that has existed for centuries and is just a statement about abuse of power and how it can be manipulated by either side. So incredibly heavy themes here. To address the elephant in the room, Ben H. Winters is white. However, he very cleverly kind of addresses the problematic trope that exists in a lot of fiction, and even in reality, of kind of the white savior for the beleaguered, colored supporting character. There's a couple references to Kill a Mockingbird in here, so just rest assured that Ben H. Winters totally understands that he's walking on very tenuous and sensitive ground here, discussing racism, and he handles it incredibly cleverly, where the To Kill a Mockingbird reference is not such a winking discussion where he's directly telling you that he understands, but the fact that this reference exists in the novel shows you that he's aware of this, and it is handled incredibly sensitively. The first two-thirds of the novel are very much a detective, a mystery novel. There's a lot of investigation and a lot of surprises where there's constantly another layer. You learn more about the society that we're in. You learn more about how this situation came to be, where slavery is still legal. And you learn more about the protagonist, and it never ceases to be illuminating and also troubling. As much as you are excited to learn about the universe and seeing it get fleshed out, you are made increasingly uncomfortable by this reality, which is an example of incredible fiction and the work of an incredible artist who can make you so uncomfortable and challenge your views and to make you look at situations a little differently. The last third of the novel, however, goes into a little bit more of a straight adventure. You get a little bit more on the sci-fi and suspense side. It becomes less of a mystery, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, which I will say I found a little disappointing. I felt like the foundation of the novel was so incredibly unique and powerful, and I began to get a really good understanding of where the novel was going, but the fact that there wasn't a statement of finality, which of course nothing is final, and especially in terms of racism and slavery, we of course know that nothing is finished overnight, and there are no simple answers. And so even though this reality we live in slavery and segregation are behind us, but racism is still woefully alive and well. It makes sense that there are no easy answers and no definitive end point. However, when I say that the book ends on a cliffhanger, it really ends kind of at one part of the adventure. So perhaps my feelings on how the story ends shouldn't come into effect, as there stands to be a pretty good chance for a sequel or two. But none of that should undermine what came before, and definitely in the final third you get some incredibly juicy details, and there are still a few surprises in store, but not so much as what came prior. Which does make sense when you're breaking so much ground and being so controversial at the start. Of course things are going to slow down. There's only so long that you can be shocked by the nature of characters and the nature of a world. So there is not a dip in quality, but a dip in the quantity of surprises and truly inspired moments in the final third of the novel. The scientific, poetic writing style and the unflinching investigation and discussion of incredibly divisive ideas just really sets this novel apart. It will make you uncomfortable, and that is absolutely why you need to read it. Plus, it's just so dang good. And this all leads to the question, what would I rate it? And I'm going to say a 95. This book is so powerful and is such a masterful way of creating a universe, doing something that is light sci-fi, historical, mystery, and weaving them all together in a way that feels natural, and never in this historical revisionism do things feel uncomfortable, unearned, or excessively forced. There isn't much of a leap of imagination needed to see how this what-if scenario could come to fruition. I mean, really, everything I've said before, it's unflinching, it will make you uncomfortable, but Ben H. Winters handles everything so well, and he is definitely one of the defining sci-fi authors of our time, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what he does next. So 95 out of 100, exceptionally good novel, highly recommend it. So what do you think? Have you read this? Have you read any of The Last Policeman? Dying to know your thoughts on this, and how did you feel the uncomfortable topics of slavery and racism were handled? Do you agree, disagree with my thoughts on it? Would love to hear what you have to say about it. One of my favorite things in the world is discussing books, and so anything to distract from the fact that all of my previous videos have ended with a glasses push, and I do not have my glasses right now, so I cannot give you the glasses push. This is troublesome, and I don't know when or how to end the video. I guess bye. Oh, and thanks. Yeah, like and subscribe and all that. And if any of you want to send me a fake pair of glasses to wear, I'd do that. Or next time, maybe I won't put in my contacts. One last question. Bonus question. Vote. Do the videos need the glasses? Is the impact of the glasses push diminished by not having them? Let me know. We'll figure this out. Thanks, until next time, guys.